Wes Crane. What fresh hell have we found ourselves in now? Chat gave me a lot of money yesterday to write a fan fiction, a sensual fan fiction, of Barry Benson, the protagonist of Bee Movie, voiced by Jerry Seinfeld, and Tucker Carlson. And I did that. How did you crank that out in one day? I mean, I have an English degree. So I'm glad I went to college for this. It prepared me. Higher education really that movie hurt my soul. I was also required to watch the Bee Movie for the first time. I had never seen it before, and guys, I have so many questions, and the movie answered very few of them. But I think broadly you can break apart the Bee Movie into 3 distinct acts. And the first act is inexplicably a rom-com about an adult human woman who deliberately puts her boyfriend's life in danger numerous times so that she can cuckold him with a bee. And Act 2 is a legal drama about, gaining freedom and civil rights for, apparently bees around the world, because apparently bees have human levels of cognition. And then Act 3 is inexplicably a disaster movie where the Earth, the fate of the Earth itself, it hangs in the balance, and I was not ready for that. Nothing could have prepared me for that, and I'm only left wondering why. Why any of it? Why was Chris Rock in the film voicing a racial caricature of a mosquito? For some reason. Also, bees are racist, apparently. And also, critically, Four Frogs in a Beanie, she did not fuck the bee. And I know that because I did some research on bee anatomy for this fanfic. And now I unfortunately know far too much about bees. And so I know that she did not in fact fuck the bee, nor did that bee fuck her. I understand the words you're saying, but in this order, they make no goddamn sense. Well, basically, chat gave me a large number of donos yesterday after I, on a whim, said, yeah, if you guys give me, X amount of subs, I'll do that, haha. And then you guys actually went and did it, you mad lads. And the one laugh that the movie got from me in its entire runtime was Patrick Warburton complaining at the beginning of Act 3 that he'd been completely and utterly cuckolded, and that bee was living his life. So it was odd, to say the least. Yeah, also the movie does end with like 1 million bees picking up a 747 passenger jet and landing the plane, while Barry Benson insists that airplanes are just like bees because they both fly. And I'm still suffering psychic pain about this. The Bee Movie is a trip. I feel like that's underselling it. Anyway, so having seen the film now, and having so many questions about it, I, of course, today sat down and wrote let's just take a gander here. a 1,226 word fan fiction. It's relatively short. Um, about about one of its principal characters. And of course, I'm going to read it to you now in its entirety because I am a woman of my word. So did you think I was lying about the whole win a lawsuit and destroy the economy bit? I just, I didn't think anyone was lying about the movie, but it's a lot different. Like, hearing about B movie is a lot different than seeing the B movie, you know? Yeah. Anyway, oh god, hello little Morphine Annie. Whose idea was the B movie? Like, sat down and was like, okay, yes, this is the thing we should put into existence. It's Jerry Seinfeld. It's always Jerry Seinfeld. If there's any project that Jerry Seinfeld's attached to and you're like, what the fuck is this? That what the fuck element is Jerry Seinfeld. He's a deeply weird man who made his entire career off of cracking jokes about cereal. And then he has access to an infinite budget to do anything he wants to do, and he made a movie about unfrosted Pop-Tarts. I've seen worse movies. I've seen worse movies too. That doesn't make the B movie explicable. there is bad, then there is so bad it's good, and then there's just why? Why is this? What's the worst movie you've ever seen? Well, there are only two movies I've openly heckled in the theater. And that's Spider-Man 3 and Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Those two. Those are the only two movies I've openly heckled in the theater. I know I've seen worse movies. Did you move? You appear to be elsewhere from yesterday. No, this is the same location as yesterday. But I am in a different location than I usually am. I'm at my partner's place. It's on the other side of town, so like I have a secondary workstation cobbled together here out of ad hoc parts. Batman vs Superman was also incredibly bad. Have you ever walked out of a movie? No. Oh, very knifey duck. Why would you watch? And reading the synopsis of a Serbian film was more than enough for me to be like, yeah, I don't need to see this. Yeah, cannot stress enough. Do not watch it. Man of Steel. Man of Steel is fine. My hot take is that Man of Steel, in terms of like DC superhero movies, is a totally fine film. Okay, but Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull is really stupid. Let's not act like ghost melting faces in the first IJ movie. Well, no, but like that's the thing. I know that I don't like. I'm not here at an Indiana Jones movie expecting realistic, but like just a lot of elements in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull were bad. It wasn't that the Crystal Skull itself was dumb. I thought it was another overhyped film. No, Serbian film is extraordinarily terrible. It will leave a gash on your psyche, and not in a good way. What's my favorite Miyazaki film? Ooh, probably Princess Mononoke. I really fucking adore Princess Mononoke. I mean, I don't actually mind aliens in an Indiana Jones film. I don't mind that. I also, my hot take about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is that I actually really like the opening of it. I thought the opening was good. Like the solid 15-minute opener of the film is good. And a lot of people complained about like Harrison Ford in the refrigerator, but like I actually that's fine. Like that's a very Indiana Jones thing. Is it over the top? Yeah. Is it more over the top than a 2,000-year-old Crusader knight killing Nazis? No. No, it's not. The fridge scene was badass. Exactly. But there's a lot of like other things in the movie that just don't work for me. Yeah, the whole scene. Yeah. Everyone who complained about the refrigerator scene absolutely gave a pass to the scene in Temple of Doom where they jump out of the passenger plane using an inflatable raft as a parachute, which absolutely would not work. Yeah, exactly, Distron. I think that's worthwhile. Mike Tyson lost? God damn it. Nothing good happens. That's not true. I did fulfill my promise to write you guys this fanfic. Not sure why every trans woman has that as their favorite Miyazaki movie. Well, because it's badass. Princess Mononoke is beautiful, badass. The titular character, also beautiful and badass. The main character, badass. Basically basically every character in that movie is a badass, even the terrible ones. Even like the bad guys. I assume Mike Tyson losing was scripted. Barely threw any punches. B-movie fanfic. What a horrible day to be literate. Hey, even if you're illiterate, I'm gonna be reading it out loud. Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind is like one of the other ones that gives me pause. You've never seen a Miyazaki movie? Oh man. Oh, Gamer G. The great thing about Miyazaki movies is that the voiceover work on every single one of them is 10 out of 10. You do not need to watch them with subtitles. Did you miss the reading? You did not miss the reading. The Wind Rises is good. I mean, like, all of them are so good. Howl's Moving Castle is amazing. The Cat Returns, also amazing. Does Jack know B-movie lore now? I unfortunately I do. Unfortunately I do. Start with Grave of the Fireflies. Maybe end with Grave of the Fireflies. Grave of the Fireflies is sad as fuck. Porco, okay. My Dark Horse favorite Miyazaki film is Porco Rosso because you really can't get better than like a World War I flying ace on the eve of World War II talking about how he hates fascists. It's so good. It's so good. Like, my god. Better a pig than a fascist. Exactly. It's such a good thing. I like it a lot. I have never watched a single anime with an exception. A friend made you watch the end of Evangelion. Why? That sounds like an enemy did that to you. Like, in terms of anime to start with, End of Evangelion is not the one. There are so many great anime you could start with. Fucking Trigun. OG Trigun is like one of the best gateway animes. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, or Full Metal Alchemist, just straight up. Both of which are wonderful Antifa works of art. I haven't seen New Trigun, but I struggle with 3D animation in anime. Like, the 3D anime aesthetic is really difficult for me to get behind if it's for, like, characters. Trigun is the one that got me. Trigun really got me. Cowboy Bebop. Frieren is also probably one of the good intro ones. Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's trite, but Cowboy Bebop holds up. I mean, it really does. It really, really does. Trigun is one of those, like, I think sleepers, honestly. I know a lot of people know of Trigun, but, like, it's like one of those best, like, good sleeper intro to anime. There's that delightful vending machine anime. That's true. I've not seen The Dragon Prince. Trigun is universally beloved, but I never see it being, like, the number one, like, hey, watch this to get into anime rec, you know? I do have to say, other good, I think, introductory animes would be Battleship Yamato. The Battleship Yamato anime that they recently brought back. I don't know that Dragon Ball is the best intro to anime. I've not read the Frieren manga. Lady Callie, thank you very much for subscribing over on Twitch. I appreciate you. Hey, Ms. Milena. I mean, Full Metal Alchemist is just so solid and, like, so good. Gurren Lagann, yep. I need to finish watching that one, but it's so good. Ghost in the Shell. I put Ghost in the first Ghost in the Shell movie and Akira in kind of the same category in my brain, where, like, they're both exquisitely animated. They're both, like, like, in terms of animation visuals, incredible. In terms of, like, the actual narrative content, I am less than impressed. Oh man, seeing them in the theater would be incredible. One Piece is pretty good. I recently started watching One Piece, and it's been slow going, but it's a good intro, especially for, like, a younger audience. Screaming at the Radio, thank you for subscribing over on Twitch. I appreciate you. Yeah, I need to watch Arcane. I've been sleeping on that for too long. Oh yeah, Akira's definitely horror. Holy moly, is it? Delicious in Dungeon is extraordinarily good too. I really, really like it. It's a feast for the eyes and the soul. In terms of, like, anime though, Studio Trigger is one of the all-time greats. That is true. I mean, it's hard to really argue against that. Space Brothers. Okay, Space Brothers. If you ever want to just like dive into one of the all-time great anime dramas, Space Brothers is right up there. It's so good. It's about for those of you who need the pitch on that one, it's about a guy who works as a used car salesman who loses his job. He's got no prospects, and he's always wanted to go to space like his brother. And so he decides at the age of like 40 years old that he's going to become an astronaut. And it's really touching. It's his entire journey through like the space program. It's really, really good. Um, Thoughts on the anime? I'm in love with the villainess. It's fine. It's fine. It's a decent comedy. Spice and Wolf is underappreciated. Um, let's see here. Oh my god. Gunslinger Girl. I don't know. Let me see something real quick. Oh, The Vampire Dies Tonight is a really good like comedy anime. More people need the people slept on that one. More people need to watch it. Kaiju number 8, Black Lagoon. Love is War, absolutely a top tier rom-com. Castlevania was awesome. I need to watch the newer seasons. Konosuba. Konosuba's I would say Konosuba is probably one of my favorite of all time. Hope you had a beautiful day. I had a good day. I did indeed. You know what, folks? I've been waiting for people to trickle in. Now is the time. Now is the time, okay? We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about this B movie shenanigan that I wrote. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? The content we're here for? Yes, fuck politics. All right. Okay. I went to college for this. Cool. Ugh, the harsh light down here really makes me regret not doing my makeup. It's fine. It's fine. Moriarty the Patriot is really good. Yeah. Samurai Champloo, also goated tier. Let's begin. All right. Okay, so I named this. You set up the light. I only have the one light. It's not good. The lighting here is bad. It is my backup studio. Okay. So this Barry Benson X Tucker Carlson fanfic is called Oh, Sweet Bit of Honey. According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible. But Barry B. Benson had his own idea of what was impossible: finding a good rebound in New York City. When you're a world-famous bee, you attract all kinds of weirdos, plus all the usual rebound garbage. Ever since Vanessa had dumped him for that big city cockroach, Barry had been devastated. He locked himself up in the hive, weeping, pretending to be fine, and trying terrible stand-up on the weekly open mic night at the Honey Hole. But now, the day after realizing his jokes had curdled like dumpster milk, Barry was ready to discover himself, and maybe love, again. He was, after all, a middle-aged bee of 5 weeks in age. It had been a lifetime ago that he had gone on an adventure into the true unknown outside the hive, his youth a blur of danger that had now begun to fade. So Barry resolved to venture out into the true wilderness, the realm of darkness, rending claws, and voracious appetites. Bear Mountain State Park. The danger and excitement were just the thing to get the hemolymph, that's bee blood to all you non-bees, pumping again and restore his injured masculinity. As he sat in train and cab to get out of the city, his thoughts drifted to Vanessa. Where had it all gone wrong? First, it was the fighting over dishes and chores. It wasn't his fault that he lacked the size to close cabinets or wash her dishes or cook her meals. That was squarely on whatever cruel god had brought them together. Barry snorted derisively. No, that couldn't have been it. After all, she left with that homewrecker, Pistachio the cockroach. Barry finally understood why there was a cock in front of that roach. It was, Barry concluded, that he was simply not enough at the end of the day. All he had was a heart full of love and a kink for colossal size differences. Was that so wrong? He tipped the cab driver handsomely with his bee-sized money and stepped out to the rest stop that heralded the beginning of his journey. Barry felt the heft of his bee yak pack and all his hermetically sealed honey containers, and felt a bit of relief that none had leaked on the journey, since leaking honey can sometimes lead to bears in the wild. He slicked back his bee fuzz and said to no one in particular, "Well, here we go!" And with that, he buzzed off and soon found himself engulfed by the darkness of hanging boughs. Tucker Carlson was having a bad day. His wife had left him about a year ago, an event he had foreseen and made peace with, but now that bitch Susan wanted half of the billionaire Swanson fortune that was rightly his. He'd been screaming at lawyers all day, frantic to keep what was his by divine economic right. It was only now, by midday, that he had a chance to find any amount of relief. A tea sweetened with the finest honey in all the lands, bee-approved honey from New York City. He guzzled it greedily, letting the thick, soothing liquid quench the burning desire of his throat. In that moment of ecstatic bliss, his personal phone let out its distinctive shriek. It was his doctor. Your testosterone levels are dangerously low, Tucker. We're gonna need to put you on some medication. Now, don't worry, many men your age begin this kind of testosterone therapy and it can help you to feel much better. No thanks, Doc. I have an even better solution. It's time to get back to my primal roots. All the better to help me fight off the next demon attack, replied Tucker, smugly. Tucker, what the fuck are you talking? Was all the good doctor could get out before the phone was suddenly silenced by Tucker's hand. Tucker flung on his blue silk robe and made his way to his car. As he strode the halls of his now empty home, he unrolled an image of Will Blunderfield, his sexual kung fu instructor. Maybe it was time to just nut up and take the advice he'd been given. As he had graduated with a black belt in sexual kung fu, Will had placed a hand on his shoulder and whispered into his ear, "If you ever find yourself lost, go out to the wilderness. Spread yourself in all ways to the universe, and surely happiness will find you and your manhood be restored." He had thought it odd at the time, but now... Well, here I go, the heir to the Swanson fortune muttered to himself. Barry was hovering through the trees and shrubbery at a languid pace. He didn't really have a destination in mind. After all, he was merely looking to come face to face with his greatest fear, a bear. As the day wore on, sun lazily falling from the sky, no bears were spotted. This did not weigh upon Barry's mind, as he had resolved to make it up to a crest in the mountain to watch the sun set. As he wove his way through the underbrush, he emerged onto a small plateau near the top of the mountain, only to find himself enamored with one of the strangest flowers he had ever seen. It was fleshy, 2 large tendrils stretched upward on either side, and it trembled in the unusual autumn heat. He admired the opening on top of this unusual plant, which seemed to practically beg for a proboscis. Barry flew closer to the flower, an obsession growing within him. His bee heart began rapidly pumping hemolymph through his body, and his breathing became ragged. The feeling only grew as he approached, almost hypnotized by its alluring beauty. He felt a tingle in his thorax that he had never experienced before, the urge to let loose in one all-encompassing moment of passion. Below the lips of this flower's opening,
This is unbearable, Bear.
Jupiter Quake, thank you for the $6.66 dono. He felt a tingle in his thorax that he had never experienced before, the urge to let loose in one all-encompassing moment of passion. Below the lips of this flower's opening, a saggy cleft looked almost like a second home, one he could, maybe, at long last find some semblance of solace from a harsh and uncaring world. The sunset shone on this flower then, and Barry gulped in anticipation, hesitantly hovering towards the object of his desire. It was novel, this feeling. Never before had Vanessa inspired it in him. She had been romance, certainly, but this flower, it was pure, quivering lust. Suddenly the flower groaned and slowly toppled over, smoothly arriving in an upright position. Barry couldn't believe his eyes. That was no flower. That was disgraced former Fox News host Tucker Carlson. He felt a pang of shame that he'd been so longingly staring at Tucker's anatomy, but was then shocked to find that Tucker was completely and utterly without clothing. Completely unchecked, Barry blurted out, "What are you doing?" Tucker whirled around, wildly searching for who might be intruding on his solitude, his eyes wandering, finally locked on the bee. In an instant, Tucker's face contorted into his most famous signature expression, bemusement. To be continued. So there you go. That is your first that is your first and hopefully only installment of this fucking story. Chapter 1, baby. Okay, time to put it on AO3. I don't want to make an account. You didn't even get to the smut. Look, I feel like describing in detail Tucker Carlson's asshole is more than enough smut for you guys. More? You guys! It's gonna be a trilogy, okay? You guys gotta donate a lot more money for me to finish it. Now that's part of my life? Indeed. It was his butt? Yes, it was his asshole. The flower he was describing was the asshole of Tucker Carlson. I'm over here B-blocking us. I need B and B penetration. But I won't try to B-quest more of it. Oh, that was brilliant, Jack. I so want more of that. Such interesting responses to this. I thought it was a real flower. No, it was his asshole! You know, the beautiful flower that some people just love. It's called being classy with your erotica, chat. Do we get a VOD of this? Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't believe how much B-movie insanity have cost. Park your beach peach.
Park your beach peach, National Park, Umbrella, Peach, Part 2, Hibiscus,
Jupiter Quake, thank you for the $20 super chat. I will say, I do have a part 2 planned out. And a part 3. I need to know Clarice's response to all of this. Well, first I had to explain to Clarice what the B movie was. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, chat. After I explained what the B movie was, she was too overwhelmed and needed to go lay down. Like, sincerely. And then we laughed a lot today about bee-related sex. Yep. Also, fun fact, did you guys know that bees, if it gets too hot, will literally orgasm themselves to death? I didn't know that. But now I do, and now all of you have to know that too. You're an excellent writer, brava. Thank you, Monica G. We're gonna finish the B-Erotica trilogy before Winds of Winter comes out. Can I learn how to do that as humans?
Please tell me there is some impreg later on.
No!
Caracal.
No, Caracal. Thank you for the $5 super chat, though. There is no impreg. If Jack just did a cold and their partner just... You should do a tug of war where people can choose if the money they donate adds to the total or subtracts from it. I don't know, maybe. Is this fic gonna be Omegaverse? I don't know what that means. Are there any bees in the furry community? I mean, bees are furry, kind of. Patrick Lucas, thank you for the gifted membership. I appreciate it. I hate to admit, I want to know how this ends. They have an undeniable chemistry. I do have to say I set up a lot of Chekhov's guns here. Or Chekhov's something. Chekhov's bees. The furry community accepts all. Monster fuckers included. So the death cult for bees ends in a sauna where they climax beyond comprehension? Yeah, basically. Gooned to death in the heat? Is there a Reddit thread of what I did with my university degree? This has to be up there. Yeah. Thanks, University of Minnesota. Yeah, I'm doing you guys proud.